If you're the one everyone depends on, but don't really have anyone you can fall back on the same way, this conversation is for you. If people come to you when you're overwhelmed, when they need advice, when they need money, when they need a ride, when they need comfort, but when you're struggling, you mostly sit with it by yourself. I want you to know how common that is and how heavy it becomes over time. Carrying everything alone doesn't always feel dramatic. It feels constant. Like you're the backup plan for everyone else, but you don't have one. You get used to solving your own problems, regulating your own emotions, talking yourself through hard days, making decisions without reassurance. You learn not to expect too much from people because it hurts less that way. And eventually, independence stops feeling empowering and it starts feeling isolating. You might still have people around you, friends, family, coworkers, but you don't feel fully supported. You don't feel like you can exhale and say, I don't have it today without worrying about consequences. So you keep showing up strong, even when you're tired of being strong. And the hardest part is that people praise you for it. They call you reliable, mature, independent, but they don't see how exhausting it is to never be the one who gets to lean. Strength without support turns into silent burnout. Now, before we go any deeper, hey there, welcome to Soft Authority. If you're new here, hi, my name is Ebony, and if you're returning, welcome back. This space is intentional. I am really glad you're here. This space is for people who are used to carrying a lot quietly and want their life to feel lighter, steadier, and less lonely than it does right now. If you've been doing everything on your own for so long that you don't even know how to stop, come on in because we're about to have a real conversation. I know you may wonder how you end up carrying everything alone in the first place. Most people don't wake up one day and decide to do life solo. It happens gradually. Maybe you learn early that asking for help didn't work. Maybe people let you down. So you stop relying on them. Maybe you become the responsible one in your family. Maybe you just got good at handling things, so people assume you didn't need support. And once you're seen as capable, more responsibility naturally comes your way. You don't always volunteer, you just don't refuse. Over time, people stop offering help because they assume you got it. And you stop asking because you don't want to be disappointed. So the load stays on you. What this feels like day to day, it feels like decision fatigue. You make all the calls, big and small. There's no one to double check with, no one to split the mental overload. It feels like emotional containment. You hold your reactions in because you don't want to create problems or worry anyone. It feels like pressure to keep functioning no matter what's happening internally. You may notice you didn't vent much or being vulnerable feels unsafe. And sometimes you don't even know what you would say if someone asks how you're really doing. When you carry everything alone, your feelings feel heavy. Healing is not easy. Changing is not easy. So letting people help requires trust, and trust requires risk. You have to believe someone won't minimize your experience, disappear, or make things harder instead of easier. If you've been self reliant for a long time, depending on someone can feel uncomfortable, even threatening. It can feel like you're losing control. There's also a fear of being perceived differently if you stop being the strong one. Who are you? Will people respect you less? Will they still come to you? Will they still need you? Sometimes strength becomes tied to identity, even when it hurts. When you're carrying everything alone, it costs you. It costs energy first. You burn through mental and emotional fuel faster because there's no sharing of the load. It causes connection. You can be surrounded by people and still feel alone because no one sees the full picture. It costs that softness as well. You stay in problem solving mode instead of allowing yourself to be vulnerable or cared for. And over time, it can cost joy. When you're always managing something, it's hard to relax into moments fully. You can be admired and still be exhausted. Being needed is not the same as being supported. Now, from carrying everything alone to support it, here's where you start. You don't go from hyper independent to fully supported overnight, of course. It starts with small shifts. Start by noticing where you're carrying things that could have been shared. Not everything, just one area. Practice asking for small help. Low risk, support, something that doesn't feel like a huge exposure, allowing people to show up in imperfect ways. Support doesn't always look exactly how we imagine. Build connections intentionally with people who feel safe, calm, consistent, not just someone familiar. And most importantly, stop measuring your worth by how much you can handle alone. You don't have to collapse to deserve support. Needing help is not weakness, it's evidence you are human. If faith is part of your life, it can also help to remember you're not carrying everything by yourself, even when it feels that way. Now, if you've been the strong one for a long time and you're ready for your life to feel lighter and more supported, you'll probably find this space helpful. That's what these conversations are for. And let me tell you what real support feels like. It doesn't feel dramatic, it feels relieving. Someone checking in without you asking. You don't have to explain everything for them to understand. You feel less pressure to perform strength. You can say, I'm tired without apologizing. You realize you don't have to carry every moment alone. Support doesn't remove your strength, it restores it. Now, you already know when this video ends, don't force yourself to open up to everyone. Just consider one safe person, one small request, or one honest sentence you could say to yourself. That's enough to begin shifting the pattern. You don't have to prove your worth by how much you can endure. You don't have to do life solo to be strong. And you don't have to wait until you're completely burnt out before allowing yourself support. Go ahead and take a deep breath. You're allowed to be held, helped, and cared for. Always remember, I'm rooting for you, your calm, your strength, your peace, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.